This tweet really stood out to me. And this was before yesterday's game.
Okay.
Spiegs tweeted this as a White Sox offensive profile check-in. This is just numbers here. And if this has to do with opponent, you can say so, but I'm not sure it does. I'm not sure this isn't independent of opponent.
Okay.
Their O swing percentage, that is the number of swings of pitches outside the zone, which is an indicator of discipline and your overall hitting profile. They are dead last in MLB. Their swinging strike percentage in general is 29th, only ahead of the Royals. Their contact rate is 29th. And when they make contact, they hit more ground balls than any other MLB team. Last in all of baseball. They don't hit the ball the right way when they hit it. You look at the Rays, they don't hit ground balls.
They really don't. So you know what that allows you? Extra outs because you're not hitting into double plays.
You're also hitting it into the area of the field where there's fewer people covering more ground.
Or over the wall.
Yes, they do that a lot too.
That'd be nice for the White Sox if they could start hitting home runs. You weren't the only one, and Spiegs wasn't the only one that picked up on this. Steve Stone actually talked with the boys about that this morning, about what happens when the White Sox have these awful at-bats.
It's the same problem the Sox have had for a while, and you can change it by bringing in some personnel who don't chase as much. And also there's another factor that, again, has kind of beleaguered the Sox for a bit, and that is you're facing Eflin yesterday, and you're facing a Tampa team that has, some pretty good right-handed starters, and you start 7 right-hand hitters and 2 lefties. Now, I know that's a product of giving Grandal some time away because he can't play every day, and when he's played pretty well. But this is not a balanced team as far as righty-lefty is concerned. And you look at some of these other teams that are doing pretty well, most all of them have substantial left-hand hitters, and they throw them. A lot of them are switch hitters, certainly, but they put a lineup that has 5 or 6 or at times 7 left-hand hitters against a right-handed slider ball guy, and they have some problems with that. So it's balance in the lineup that occasionally hurts this ball club. And as far as chasing is concerned, you'd like to think that these guys will chase less as they get older. We haven't seen a whole lot of that yet. Maybe we will sometime. Or maybe you get some guys with plate discipline.
That sounds like a roster construction issue to me, Dan. What Stoney's talking about
what did A.J. Pierzynski say about it?
You don't have the right personnel. That's what that sounds like to me. It's so upsetting, like, to watch White Sox games now. And we do it because we have to. We do it for the people. For the people! But the people themselves, I felt like going into this season, especially after the offseason, the no Sox Fest, like all of that stuff, I felt like Sox fans were saying, you've got to prove it to us before we give you our love. And with them starting out at 7-15, having not won a series, what in the world is going to make me as a fan want to go to the ballpark?
Don't make it so hard on us. Give us something. Don't make it so difficult. That's all. I don't ask much. Just make it easier on us, one way or another.
But that's the other part of it. Like the other thing for the White Sox is that they have become unlikable organizationally. Like, still, there are a bunch of individuals inside that clubhouse, I think, that are likable. But as an organization, they've become unlikable. And they seem to be leaning into the unlikability. They seem to be leaning into the, we'll show you. Okay, we're waiting. We're waiting to be proven wrong. And the only reason that we're saying these things about you is because the past is prologue. We've seen what's happened over the last couple of years.
And in some ways, that's not fair to Pedro Grifol, but there's only so much he can do. If you're going to have Luis Robert lead off, I don't know what is wrong with Luis Robert. I don't know whether he's just slipping into
darkness,
into Baez-ness. but his chase rate, if he just zones it in a little bit, he could be an MVP. An MVP. What's holding him back is how easily he's suckered into chasing some of these nasty sliders and some of these two-seamers. Just know the zone a little bit better.
Luis Robert, 3 for 34 with a double, 2 RBIs, and 0 multi-hit efforts in his last 8 games, plus 1 at bat starting into yesterday. He's looked lost. He goes through these phases where you go, oh no, like they have him figured out. They know not to throw him fastballs that are within his swing plane, that you can get him out of the strike zone. You can get him out up and in on fastballs that he thinks that he can get to. It's upsetting to see him. At least he's still playing a Gold Glove level center field for the White Sox. But if you sign Andrew Benintendi, and I know that he hit a ball that would have been out of most ballparks this weekend. If you sign Andrew Benintendi, knowing that he hit 5 home runs last year, Dan. 5. That's not someone who's going to be adding a lot of pop to your lineup. They have gotten a better offensive version and defensive version of Grandal back so far this year, and that's good. But when your depth gets tested the way that the White Sox organizational depth routinely gets tested, I was talking about this with a friend of mine, a Sox fan, like the idea of, and Berger and Sheets they've bought into it, right? They've bought into the idea of, well, we're 2 guys and we make kind of one awesome guy. Yeah, but you're still 2 guys.
Yeah, you're not Voltron.
Right. You're still 2 guys on a roster and neither one of you really have a position. And if you got to take 2 guys to make 1 guy,
roster construction,
you're at a deficit. You're at an absolute deficit. So there's so much that's not right about them. And then you add in playing a team that is so buttoned up like the Rays. Like they don't beat themselves. They have great at bats. Their pitchers stick to their plan and don't seem to get rattled the way that White Sox pitchers get rattled. Even if they get hit, they don't get rattled. And they like you said, they waited them out. They're like, okay, yeah, you guys have the lead. Awesome that you have the lead. Watch this. Saturday, oh, you want to play an extra innings game? Cool, because we know that you won't execute, and you didn't. And the runner didn't move from second base because with less than 2 outs. So you guys can just give us awesome bottom of let's go. We're gonna get out of here and celebrate.
All right, ball game. Let's go eat.
Yeah, let's all go eat. And the White Sox are just sitting there like, oh, another series that we lost, and now we've gotten swept. And that stat about them not winning 2 games in a row, that's rough.